Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BT's Fly Tying Friday. Tonight, the 6th of February, our friend from Canada, Rick Passek, is going to wow us with some salt and salmon and who knows what else. And the weekly tip, we're going to talk about which clip? Well, you'll have to wait and find out. But before we get started on tonight's program, later in the program, we're going to be talking about things that show up in the mail. And that is not from the U.S. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for right now, I want to pull my friend Rick Passek up here and tell you all about him. Oh my God, Rick, you've grown hair. Oh, hey, this is great. Yeah. Okay, that's great, Rick. Thank you. Rick Passek has been fly fishing for nearly 45 years and cuddling dogs for almost that long as well, tying flies for more than 30 of them. He is the author of two fly fishing books, one the Freshman Fly Fisher, A Beginner's Guide, and the Canadian best-selling Freshman Fly Fisher's Insect Guide. Rick is on a pro team with Hens Products, that's in Czechoslovakia, Upavan in the UK, Arex Hooks in Denmark, SA, that's Scientific Angler in the US, Sport Fishing on the Fly, a TV show, Renowned Scissors in Poland, Hardy Umpqua, Pure Fishing, and Moby Custom Nets. Jesus, Rick, what do you do in your spare time? Rick is also the vice president of a highly active fly fishing club based out of Kamloops, BC, and is a director at Fly Fishing Canada. That's a competitive international fly fishing association. That's pretty impressive, Rick. Right now, I'll tell you what, with that resume, we're really looking forward to these six flies you're going to share with us. It's all yours, Rick.
Thanks for that introduction. The only one little change there is I'm no longer the vice president of the Kamloops Fly Club because I have moved about 17 hours away from that. So I'm now in way northern Alberta. I'm almost in the Northwest Territory. So I am no longer with that club. I mean, I'm still on with the club. I'm just not the vice president anymore. But so Al and I discussed a couple of times what I should do for you guys, and we decided that I'm going to tie up some saltwater patterns. So it's going to be a little bit of a mix of. I'm going to be doing, if we get the whole enough time for the whole six flies, going to be doing two tropical patterns, two salmon patterns for in the ocean, and then two sea run cutthroat patterns. So, so it's quite the list. So let's get going. So this one here is a tropical pattern. I call it the beach baitfish. It's one that served me really well when I was I spent a year traveling through Mexico and Guatemala and Belize, and off the beach I was catching multiple species with this fly. So I figured I'd show you guys this one. So this is an Arex SA220 streamer hook in a size 12. It is a saltwater stainless steel hook. And I tie these in a 2, 4, 6. So this is the smaller of the three sizes that I tie. I can even tie this one quite a bit smaller if I want, go all the way down like a 12, 14 and use it for cutties and stuff. But I'm going to be using some nano thread. And this happens to be a 6/0 in white. Just let me know if you guys can't hear me or whatever. I do have a mic on, but if it cuts out, just let me know.
We sure will.
So I'm just going to start my thread, and then I want a really bright underbody on these. I like having some shine in it. So what I normally will do, and I think I actually forgot to put this in the oh no, I did in the recipe. So it's just going to be some silver hollow tinsel. The bigger the fly, the bigger the hollow tinsel you want. In this case, it's just some, this is a small. Oh. Okay, just hold on. Sorry, my dog's running around underneath me and jumping on me, so I'm a little distracted. Hopefully, as a puppy, he calms down so I can do this. No, get off. Let Teddy do his thing. So I'm just going to put that back. And then I'm going to come forward again. Now you can do this either before or after. It really doesn't matter in this case, because you're not, like, it's not one of those dry flies or whatever where you're going to see the bump or whatever. So just going to come back here. I could have put this on first or second, but this is vinyl rib in clear in a medium. Now I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I did light it with a lighter and then just pull it, and then it flattens it out for you. So it will not leave that big bump, right? And this is one of the reasons I use nano silk for these, because I can really crank on that, right? So I'm going to bring this forward, and I'm going to leave myself space here to build my wing and head and all that. So I'm going to take my hollow tinsel. Like I said, I could have done it first, and I probably should have, but I wasn't paying attention because of the dog. And just bring this all the way forward. This does not have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter if there's a gap or two here and there, because this is all going to get covered with this rib, right? So this is just to have that shine, that sparkle, that attention getter underneath, to create that body of a bait fish. You know, they got that really silvery scales and stuff, right? So this is just more of an attention getter, that flash. Now I'm just going to, in close touching wraps, and I'm pulling fairly tight. I want to keep this body fairly streamlined. I mean, you don't really put much of a, this stuff doesn't flatten that much, but so just tie that off. And this is one I was when I was down in Mexico and stuff. I fished this right off the beach, right in the surf, and I was using depending on if there was a drop off or whatever, I was using anywhere from a floating line to a type 6 sink tip. Fairly aggressive retrieve. Okay, so now next step here is I've got a little bit of deer hair in my stacker already. It's white deer hair. There's two reasons for this deer hair. One, because I want it as part of the wing, but two, the reason I'm putting it on first is because I want it as a bit of a stiffer back for the next materials to kind of sit on. Right, so now this, I want to have this about the length of the body past the back of the hook. So there's about the length of the body, about there. So I'm just going to move my fingers a bit right there. Let's cut that off. Wax my thread, because it is a nano thread, nano silk, GSP, any of those. They're going to be slippery, and you don't want to lose this material if you can help it, right? So I'm just going to put this in just shy of the eye, give it a couple, 2, 3 loose wraps, and then I'm going to tighten that down. Then I'll come forward, and you'll see why at the end when we start building the head. I really don't care if this is not that pretty. So step one. Next step, and this you can play with a myriad of different colors. In this case, I'm using, it's called Semper Flash from Semperfly, and it's the Rio Grande and Gold. I'll put it down below. So it's got a bit of it's a gold color. You can use silver, you can use gold, you can use any color. If you take a look at bait fish, they've got definite segmentation. They've got that white body, then they've got that kind of it goes up to a little gold and sometimes copper, and then it'll go to a little bit darker for the back, right? So just feel free to use whatever colors you like. And I'm only putting in about 5, 6 strands, and then I'm going to double it over. Make sure it stays right up on top. Come forward, double that back, come back over top of it, Then I'm going to cut this stuff about as long as the longest deer hair. So about here, and I do it on a bit of an angle, and I push away as I'm doing it. Give it a bit of a taper. Okay. Next, I'm going to take this Gala blend, same stuff, but it's Gala in green. So now we're getting into that back, right? The back of the bait fish, quite a bit darker. I'm going to take about the same, maybe a little bit more than I did for that last layer. And again, I don't really worry. I'm going to let it hang longer. It doesn't matter. I'm going to trim this anyway. Same thing, just kind of, get it in there, fold it back, keeping it right up on top. And again, I'm not worried about this if the head isn't pretty. It's not too bad so far, but I'm not really worried about it. Again, about the longest part of the last material again, and I'm just going to give it a push and cut at the same time, kind of taper it. And then now my final material before I start doing my head is just some peacock herl. And the reason I like using peacock herl, it's got such cool colors and such great movement. Peacock herl is probably one of the best all-around materials out there. It is the one bad part with the peacock herl in these flies is if you're getting into toothy critters like barracuda and stuff, this doesn't last long. So, and again, ever so slightly longer than those last fibers. Bring that back. Cut off my herl. Just going to give my thread a counterclockwise spin to flatten it, just for a little bit easier coverage of everything. Done. Whip finish. Now it's up to you. You can put a dab of Sally's or whatever, but it's going to get all gooed up anyway in a minute because I'm going to build a bit of a head here. But I personally like putting just a little bit of Sally Hansen's or head cement or whatever you like using. I don't even worry about it too much. It's going to all get covered anyway here. So now these are absolutely favorite heads on the market. They're from Stonefoe. And they're soft. So they're a soft head, so you can just push these over top of these hooks. But once they get exposed to UV, to light, like the sun and all that stuff, they go hard. They're absolutely phenomenal. And you can get them in small, medium, large, and extra large. This is a small. So what I do here is I'll just make sure that, and I know it does, but just make sure that it goes up and through the head, through the eye. I know it will, so I don't concern myself. I take some whatever UV resin you like. I like this one from Uphaven, the crystal coat. And I'll put a couple of dabs just right on where this is going. And I'll put a little squish right into that soft head. Just a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to take this and just push that right over top of that eye of the hook. And you can make these smaller. You can put more material, less material. It's totally up to you. I actually like making these with this hook, and I like making it with a hook that's a 4XL, 4 extra long. Just going to see if this peacock herl, yeah, there we go. Just to clean out that eye. And then I'm just going to hit that with a UV light. If you don't feel that you're, comfortable with the just the UV, you can put a thread dam in front. I've never had a problem. I've never had one come off. And like I said, these get really hard once they get out in the sunshine. The other thing I've also done the odd time is I'll put a little piece of red fluff of marabou or something underneath here just as a gill, but I've never found that it makes a difference. So I don't usually go crazy. Then last step, and this is, again, depending on the bait fish in your area, wherever you're going to be fishing. If you can do some research, that's great. Check the eye color. Often for me, it's red, silver, and kind of that goldy kind of color. So just put that on, give that with the UV light. And this head looks a little on the big side on this, but it's not. Once this thing is in the water, it slicks down. It's absolutely beautiful. It swims really nice, all the movement of the material. Like I said, I do like tying these on these hooks, but I also do like tying them on up to 4 extra long. It just gives a little bit more of that silver body. Again, give that a hit. And I'll kind of go through it from the back side as well, just to make sure that resin cures. And if you really, 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 really want to make sure those eyes don't come off, just coat them with some crazy glue or Sally's or whatever. And like I said, this is about the smallest I tie for tropical. The ones I was using down there for right on the beach are probably an inch and a half, inch and 2 inch. Well, I think you guys actually can't see that because where my finger is. Here, I'll move that. About that much bigger, right? So they're quite a bit longer and longer shanked hook too. The hook would be about that long. The shank come up to about here, right? So, but it depends what you're going for. Depends on the species. These work really good for GTs. They work good for roosters. They work good for. Actually, I caught a snapper off the beach down there. A red snapper right off the beach. I've caught, like I said, GTs and roosters and snook. And they also work on salmon in the estuaries here in British Columbia and Washington State, Oregon. So, right.
That is beautiful.
So there you go.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. And when that slicks back, I'm just going to get it wet with my mouth, but it slicks back and it's a ton of movement, right? It's almost like a pinfish, like a needlefish, right? And there's a ton of movement. So again, if you know in your area that you're going to be fishing and the species you're trying to mimic, if they're a bigger minnow, just put more materials in, double the amount of deer hair, double the amount of flash. So, right. So that's number 1.
Oh, awesome. Any questions for Rick?
I've got one. What was the body material again?
It's hollow tinsel for the underbody, and then this vinyl D-rib, or vinyl rib. Sorry, not a D-rib. It's just a vinyl rib in clear.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. And all that does is it just helps protect the underbody is all it's doing. And it's muting it a little bit because, I mean, I don't want straight flash. That's a little bit too much sometimes, right?
So the tinsel will show through the clear vinyl.
Yeah, if you take a look at the body right there, you can see the tinsel. It's nice. It's kind of hard. Let's see if I can turn off one of the lights. It's kind of hard to see, but yes, it does. It shines through that. But it just mutes it a bit, though, right?
Cool.
So it's not that real flash in your face. So
You
give me a sec.
You ever use stinger hooks?
Absolutely, I do. And when I tie this one, I try to tie it so the stinger hook is facing up, right?
Right.
But yes, I absolutely do tie stinger hooks on these too, especially if you're getting into those longer, like some of the bait fish that I encountered down in Belize and stuff. They were like 10 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches long. Well, even with a long shanked hook, and you've got 4 more inches of material sticking by, you got a lot of false hits, right? So absolutely, stinger hooks work. Yeah. And then I like using what the heck is this stuff called again? Rio came out with it years ago. Use it for our intruder flies, for our stinger hooks, and it's not a wire, but it's kind of like a wire. I can't remember what it's called. If I can remember, I'll let you guys know. I just can't remember what it's called, but it's a phenomenal material for stinger hooks. So I'm just throwing my stuff away so I don't have a complete gong show mess here in my hands while I'm going on to the next one.
Is it spider wire?
No, it's not the spider wire. It's from Rio, from like Rio Fly Lines. Rio came out with it. It's kind of like a wire, but it's not. It's very stiff, right? And a lot of the steelhead intruder guys up here in BC and stuff, and Washington State, use that stuff. They still do to this day. So, alrighty. So that was tropical. Let's go on to a cutthroat trout pattern. So now, many of you guys are going to know this pattern. It's a very well-known pattern, has been around for decades, absolute decades. But I do a little bit of a twist in my version. And this is another one of those ones that I'll tie. Like I said, this is for a sea run cutthroat. So it's when you're hunting in the estuaries, you're not doing a whole ton of casting. You're doing a lot of walking and looking for cutthroat sign, movement, water movement, boiling, that kind of stuff. Just going to see if I can zoom in here. Come on. There we go. That'll do. No, wrong way. Yeah. So this is the Mickey fin. Very well-known pattern. This is just, like I said, just a twist on the Mickey fin. So where is my... Going to use some, first of all, it's a Hens BL 724 in a size 12. I tie these in a 12, 10, 8. And I even actually tie them all the way down to a 4 and use them for salmon. The salmon love the Mickey fin. You just got to go a little bit of a bigger, heavier hook for them. So any good 2x long nymphs, like leech hook, that kind of stuff. Now, I do, and I unfortunately I ran out of them, because normally, which I tie these on, because these are fished 100% for me in the estuaries of in the ocean. So I normally tie these on a size 12 or a size 10 Mustad O'Shaughnessy, which is a saltwater hook. But I ran out of 12 and 10, so I unfortunately I couldn't do that, but it is what it is. So, alrighty. So again, this is going to be your very basic start to the fly. It's not going to be much different than the last one. So this is 0.2 mil or small, not extra small, small or 0.2 mil red wire. Just going to set that up front here, leaving space for my wing. Again, it's not an absolute killer if it's not there. If you don't, if it's a bit sloppy up there, because it's all going to get covered. And I'm going to about where the barb would be, or before the bend of the hook. I don't want to start going around, because then it just doesn't look natural, right? So come back forward, open turns. Same stuff as before. Hollow tinsel, silver. I do tie this one in a gold as well. I always have both in my box, silver and gold bodied Mickey fins. Of course, as you guys, some of you might have saw at the beginning, I've got a little dog. He's a 7-month-old puppy, and my wife is at her mom's house in Vancouver. So I'm bacheloring and I'm dog sitting, and he's going nuts doing the zoomies below my feet. So sorry if you guys can hear him. But so same thing. Just give it slightly overlapping wraps here. And again, it depends on the species you're using this for. If you're using this for cutthroat trout, I don't worry about it. But if you're using it for salmon, I would coat the body with a UV resin, cure it, and then after you've done the rib, and then move on to building your wing. For cutties, I don't usually bother. So, and again, just bring your rib forward. This will do twofold. It'll give you that nice segmented look of the body, and it will protect your hollow tinsel that you just put on. Try to get semi decent looking ribs. Again, fish can't, in my opinion, fish can't really tell if they're not perfectly segmented, and fish definitely can't count. So I always have arguments with several of the guys up here that are British Columbia is big time lake fishing, and a lot of these lake guys up here are hardcore chironomid fly fishers, and they're like, no, 7 ribs, it's got to have 7 ribs. I'm like, what school did the fish go to that they can count it? Right? So normally your Mickey fin is yellow, yellow, and then red, and then yellow. Okay, that's your normal Mickey fin. Now I'm going to put a little bit of twist to this. I'm going to go yellow deer hair here, bucktail, and then the twist comes. And it's not a huge twist. It's just something we've been playing with for a long time up here, and we find that it is movement is a big part of cutthroat fishing. Silhouette is a big part too, but movement. You got to have that right movement. And bucktail will slick back nice and stuff, but it won't move very well. So this is just going to be used as a base. So I'm not putting very much on. It might be, that's actually probably a little bit too much. I'm going to pull some of those off. It's the one big one with Mickey fins. If you think you've got too much on, if you think you've got the right amount, takes half off. You don't, sparse. And I want this to be just maybe half the body length past the hook at the very most. So about like that is what I'm going to do. Switch my fingers, cut that. Again, you're doing a slippery thread and a slippery material, wax. Just get a couple of loose wraps, tighten it up. And there's so this is could call it my base layer. Now the little twist. Instead of putting bucktail on, I do my next 2 layers with Marabou. Lots of movement, right? So it's not a huge deal. It's not like a big woo. That's outrageous. It just adds that movement to these flies that deer hair does not, or bucktail, right? And again, if you think you've got the right amount, you don't, half it. So I just want 8 or 10 little strands is all I want at the most. So about there. Give that a cut. And when these flies go through the water, when I'm chasing cutties in the estuaries, these things just pulsate. And that little bit of silver gets their attention, and that pulsation movement brings them in. So not much, just a little bit. I'm just licking my fingers just to kind of get it under control. And then I finish it off with yellow marabou. These are when you find, I don't know how many of you guys are sea run cutthroat fishermen, estuary fishermen, but they're almost as hard to catch and find as steelhead. They can be very, very elusive. Yeah, you can spend days walking looking for cutthroat sign, and there's with sea run cutthroat, there's no use casting blind. You've got to see sign. You've got to see those little, those little swirls of them chasing pinfish or those or them needlefish, that kind of thing. The little swirls, even those little, you can see these little waves, these little wakes, because they're in groups all the time, right? So same thing. Just gonna wet my marabou just a little, just so it's under control for me. And I want it about the same length, if not just a touch longer. But I mean, when I say a touch, I mean a touch. Couple of loose wraps, tighten that up. Make sure that stays right up on top. Just building up a little bit of a head here, just so it's nice and streamlined through the water. It's okay, Riz. A little bit of a nice tighten. This nano silk from Semperfly and the nano thread from Hens, I can bend this hook with a 12-aught, so super strong stuff. So there you go. And then I always take a look and see if I did a decent job. I'm not the happiest with that on the head, so I just cover all this up, take a lighter, and there you go. That's the Marabou Mickey.
Beautiful. Talk about easy. You can crank those out really fast, like
Huge,
you did.
yeah. Yeah, and this one is actually I'll be honest, it's a little on the long side. I would have liked to have actually stopped this one probably here. So it's probably about that much too long.
Uh-huh.
So, but I also make one exactly the same, but quite a bit longer, to kind of mimic a needlefish that we have up here on the West Coast. So, and then I change up the colors too. And that's the other one with the Mickey fin. This is your classic color scheme of your Mickey fin, but I do these in white and blue as well. I do these in black and yellow. I do them in quite a few different colors, right? But this is your classic color combination. So there. So again, fairly simple.
And Bill is wanting to know if you
Ostrich
could use ostrich turtle as a substitute for marabou, and if you
Absolutely.
I got the right colors, would be fine. Would think.
Yeah, lots of the key with what I found, at least over the many years of sea run cutthroat fishing. I lived on the Vancouver Island for years, so we were constantly chasing cutthroats. The key with them is movement. Silhouette is important as well, but movement is the number one. You got to get their attention with a little tiny bit of flash, and then it's got to move. If it's not moving, they're not coming for it. They're predatory hunters. They want to move. They don't like things stationary. So number 2. Okay, let's get that out of the way. There.
Color choice for sea runs is excellent. Yellow is a really big deal.
Huge. Yeah, no, for sure. And it also depends on on the water that you're fishing them too, right? I mean, if it's if you're in the estuary, but you're in have a brackish water that's kind of coming in from the mainland and dumping out, and it's a little bit dirtier, I really like going with the silver body. In the more clear estuaries, I like gold bodies, right? Or copper, right? As well, underneath it. I even tie them, like I told you, I tie them in different color combinations. I'll tie this one in white, blue, white. Sorry, no, blue, white and blue only, just two layers, white and blue, but with this blue body, this mirror tinsel in blue. Right, it's another one that bluish color, especially in bluish water. It's one of those color combinations that's just killer. So, alrighty,
So the gotcha jig is coming up next, right?
that is what we're doing. So this is back to another tropical pattern. This is it's a gotcha. Probably 90% of you guys know what a gotcha is. It is an absolute deadly. It's probably one of the gotcha and the Crazy Charlie are probably the two best flies out there. Period. They're so versatile. You can catch so many different fish with them. This one is it's the same, except I use a jig hook because that way I'm getting that undulating, bouncing movement off of the bottom, and I'm getting those puffs of sand and stuff. And if you've ever been bone fishing, and there's probably a bunch of you that have, bonefish just love that because it's crabs and stuff like that are crawling across the bottom and making those puffs, right? It drives them nuts. Redfish love it too. So do black drum. Actually, this one in what time of year was it? June, I guess it would have been. I guess it was June. In Corpus Christi, I went. Was coming back from Mexico, and we came through Corpus Christi, and I did a 2 days of guided trip, and this one caught probably half of my black drum. So, oh no, wrong one. No, that's the right color. Sorry, here's the right color. So I'm back to that yellow, that same kind of an off yellow. So that's one complaint I have about all these nano silks, GSPs, nano thread. Doesn't matter if it's UTC or if it's Semperfly or if it's hens, or I find all of them, the nano silks, the GSPs, the colors suck. They're so color fast. They're not like bright green or bright yellow, or So now I'm gonna put on my hourglass right up tight to the front. I'm going to give it just a dab of, it can be UV resin, can be crazy glue, can be Sally's. Just going to put a little dab in there and help that work in underneath all the thread, get it locked in of all the layers of thread. I always also go, when I do mine, I go figure 8 4 or 5 times, and then I'll go under, figure 8, under, right? That really locks that in. Now this is a very large one, just so you guys know. So this is it's an SA254 salt jig in a size 6 from Arex. So it is a large hook in a size 6. I'd probably do a lot. I would say if I looked in my tropical box, I bet you most of these would be 8s, even 10s. But I love having some of these big ones with too, because when you get some of those big black drums and those big redfish and stuff, they'll just smoke these. I'm actually going to just go out just a little bit, if I can. Come on, zoom out. Wrong way. There we go. Just so you can see a bit more. So now, I am going to take a little tiny bit of, you can use like a predator fiber or a craft fur or a whatever you like here in the back end. I'm going to do a combination. So I'm taking just a tad of this Uphaven predator fiber in tan for a tail, and I'm not using very much. I'm just going to come up to the front here, right behind the hook, about halfway point. Couple of wraps, fold this over, and I keep my material up a bit. That way I know it's not wrapping around. And then what I do with all my tails, whether it's dry flies, whether it's leeches, whether anything, I go under it, over it, under it, over it, under it 3 times. And that'll help just keep that tail elevated. Okay. Now the back of the hook is about there. I'm going to go about a half an inch further. Just give that a bit of a cut. And I try to be a little bit random. I don't like having perfect cuts because nothing in nature is straight. Just a little bit of a tail. Then I'm going to come in with a good piece of this Semperflash baitfish yellow tint. Really bright. It's got some yellows in it. It's got some pearl in it. It's awesome stuff. And then I'm going to, again, just going to roughly, about like that, come back forward, come right behind that eye, tie that in. And I have about probably double the amount of the flash than I did that Predator fiber body. And I'm just lifting this up just so I can see where I stopped with my thread. I want to stop about the front of the hook, front of the point of the hook. So about there. Again, take my scissors, I'm going to cut this roughly about the same length as that tail. And go. Just building up my body a little bit. Now, at this point, there's a myriad of things you can do. You can put in some silver hollow tinsel. You can put in some gold hollow tinsel. You can put in some, you can take this Predator fiber stuff and wrap the body. You can leave it just like it is now. And this is actually my preferred, is just using the thread as a body. I will tie some more flashy ones up. So I'm just did a counterclockwise spin just to flatten that thread, just so I get a little bit more body coverage. Another counterclockwise spin, flatten that thread, a bit more of a body coverage. Then I'm going to come right tight to those eyes. Now I'm going to take that same tan, a little bit more. This wing has to be substantial. I mean, don't go crazy huge, but you want it fairly substantial because it looks huge because of how spread this is. But when this stuff gets wet, it just slicks right down, right? So I'm going to want this to end up about the same length, slightly longer than that tail. So I'm just going to slick this just a little so I can see where this will end up once I tie it in about there. That'll bring me up. Okay, so I'm just going to pinch it. Dropped a piece of tinsel and now the dog's going nuts on the floor playing with it.
Go ahead and get it.
gotta-
You don't want your dog swallowing that.
No, I already got it. I'm actually stepping on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got to stay. I know I don't want him to be eating it, but I think you got a piece of marabou too, but that's not going to hurt him. So again, I waxed my thread. I've cut my material and I'm going to give it 1, 2, 3 loose wraps. And then I'm going to really pull down on that. And then I'm going to kind of figure eight back through those eyes, trying to cover that material. Sorry that my fingers ran away, but I have to until it's tied in. Okay, so there's your gotcha, and it's actually a little too long for my taste, so I'm going to trim that a little bit. But I hate trimming this stuff because I don't like it when I don't like it. I don't like anything being cut. Nature doesn't make things straight, so I try to get that in the first go, but that's better.
You have
So
to get you a pair of thinning scissors.
yeah, actually, yeah, exactly. Thinning shears. So I'm just kind of crossing through, just making sure that that's really well in there. And that is it. Now, if I really wanted to add some more bling bling, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, I could put a little bit more of that stuff, obviously the right length, into here, right? But I don't. So now that's done, I want a little bit of movement in this fly as well. I don't want just the color. I want some of that movement, right? So I'm going to take some of these silly legs. They're barred pumpkin green and orange. Oh, sorry. And I'm just going to take 2 legs. I don't want a crazy amount here, but I definitely, you want something that's a contrast color, like a lot. You want to see these legs, right? You want the fish to see these. So I'm just going to grab these roughly halfway. I'm just going to lay it right on the side here. Lock that in. Same on the other side. I'm going to lay these in. Get out of my way. I'll lay them both back, go over top of both of them. And my legs are in. These aren't the prettiest flies, the gotchas. But whew, man, do these things work. The gotchas and actually, I think Crazy Charlies are basically a gotcha without the legs and the tail. So if you want to tie a really successful pattern and really fast, those are the ones to tie. Crazy Charlies are very good patterns, and man, you can pump out a lot of those things. So now if I wanted to clean this tie-in area here a little bit, like if I wanted to clean up this little area right in here, I could put just a tiny bit of dubbing. But again, I've never ever noticed that the fish makes any difference to the fish, right? So and then I'm going to come in front, keep those silly legs out of the way, and just do a whip finish right at the eye, tighten that up, nip that. Now you want these legs longer than the tail and the wing, but not this much longer. So I'm going to go probably about there. And that's it.
Boy, I love that fly about as much as anything you've done so far, and they've all been great.
And when
I
this
can just
slicks
see-
down, this material slicks down without getting a hook tip in my lip.
I was going to say that'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't be.
Wouldn't be for me. It might be for you guys.
Yeah.
But right, it slicks right back, right? And once it's in the water, it'll slick back even more. But the nice thing is this wing will breathe as well. It'll move, right? And these legs will move. You can even put a couple of wraps in between to keep them separated if you like, right? Put a couple of wraps in between to keep them separated. But I actually like it when they kind of slick back on both sides. And it just, like I said, this thing will, I'm going to move my vise out of the way. As you're bringing this across the sand, right on the flats, it'll fall. Sorry, I'm going to use that as my flat. It's going to fall. It's going to make that puff, and when you lift it and when you strip, it's going to go. and then it's going to fall. And it's gonna go, pff. So it's going to have lots of movement, lots of leg movement. And every time it falls and gets pulled up again, it makes that puff. And that's a lot of these fish. I mean, if you ever fish tropical flats, they always got their nose down. They're always nosing down like this, and they're looking for those crustaceans, right? So these are deadly. And I tie them in an absolute myriad of colors. I tie them in white and tan and yellow and pink and brown and so many different colors, in copper and rust, right? So I would say probably tan and pink are my two favorites. So this tanny yellow and pink, right? And that's it. Nice, heavy, heavy fly. And if you wanted it even heavier, put a couple of wraps of like sticky back flat lead or something under the body if you want it even heavier, right? Or use tungsten hourglass eyes. These are just brass, right? So, but they're still, I mean, it's heavy. That thing hits you in the back of the head casting, you're going to know it, right? So
your next one is the UV minnow, right?
yeah, this is probably my favorite fly for cutthroat. And I've caught an absolute crap ton of rainbow trout in the rivers and in the lakes with this one as well. So it's a very versatile pattern. And it's, talk about simple. Doesn't get any simpler than this one. It's literally just a couple of materials. So, but just let me put this stuff away. Just so I'm not confusing what I'm doing. Oh, sorry. One other thing I wanted to show you. Instead of doing the body like I did, right? You guys, right? I just did that nice thread body. I use stuff like this. This is pearl scudback from hens, and it can be very like, yeah, I probably have 50 different colors of this. So this kind of that pinky kind of color. And the nice thing is it also frays on the ends. So if you want to, you can tie it in, leaving about an inch past, and then fray it, and that can be used as your tail, right? So excellent. And then coat your body with it. Excellent stuff. But if you're going after toothy critters, this stuff will get destroyed yesterday. Next is the UV minnow. I tied this in a 8, 10, 12. This is an Arex hook. This just happens to be bulk, but an Arex FW 581 in a size 10. I am going to be using white nano silk. Like I said, super, super simple fly. But probably my number one for estuaries. Oh, I love this fly. Absolutely love this fly. So come back forward, leaving myself a bit of a space. Going to take, up to you what color scheme you like. You can use wood duck color. You can use the natural. Again, you're imitating baitfish. So I'm going to be using some natural teal flank, or you can use teal flank, you can use guinea fowl. There's so many different ones you can use. It's up to you. Okay, just going to grab 6 or 8 little barbules off of the feather, make my little package, and I want about the length of the body, stick and pass. So about there, I'm just going to hold that, cut that. And just come all the way back to where you stopped with your thread there. You want to be about where the barb would be. And then again, as always, under the tail, over the tail, under the tail, over the tail. I like doing it 3 times. Just keeps that tail from fouling, right? That stuff out of the way so it's not flying everywhere. Then back to that same 0.2 mil red wire. If you don't want to use red wire, you can use a silver wire. You can use gold wire. It all depends on, again, what color scheme you're going for too. I really like the red. This one I'm tying, you guys, is my go-to. This is the first one I reach for. It's the first fly I reach for when I go cutthroat trout fishing. So now I'm using, this is Uni-Mylar gold silver. I'm going to have the gold side up when I tie it in because I want to have the silver side up when I'm wrapping. Now you can use hollow tinsel here too. I just find this straight silver, straight gold is the ticket. Now, again, I do tie this one the other way where I have the gold facing out. So I make this into a gold one as well. But just give that a push down just to make sure that's nice and flat. Wrap this forward. And this is another one of those flies. I just love flies like this because they're fast and they don't have to be pretty. Just because they're going to get coated anyway. You're like, there's a little bit of a bulge there on that one. I can see it, but I don't really care because I know this is totally going to get covered up. And you're not going to see it at all. So just secure that, cut that off, counter wrap my red.
Boy, I wish I could counter wrap as well as you do, because yours just go in there perfectly spaced, and I have to struggle a little bit on the counter wraps. Straightforward wrap, I do pretty good, but those are dead on.
Okay, bingo, bango, bongo, right? Pretty ugly looking little fly. Doesn't look like nothing, but I'm done. I'm done tying it. I'm done tying it. I'm still going to finish it, but I'm done tying. Now, if you really want to put, like, if again, depending on what you're doing, but if you got like salmon fry in the water where you are, you can put a little bit of a little piece of red marabou or a little dot of red underneath here, just as that gill plate, right? But I don't bother. Now I take these eyes. Hi, buddy. Yeah, I know. I'm almost done. And then we can go eat. So I take my UV resin. I'm just going to turn this sideways. Yeah, you can see. Just going to put a dot, just a little tiny dot right there. And again, this is the nice thing about all these flies. They're so customizable. You can use big eyes like these. You can use smaller eyes. You can use even bigger eyes. It's up to you. I really like these big eyes on them. It's an attractor. Now these are a little on the big side for this hook. I would normally again tie this with actually I should have tied it with an extra long, but that's okay. Where's my UV resin? Curing light. So you see how it's right in the middle like that? That's what I want. And I want it right up to the bend as the eye of the hook. Exactly the same on the other side. Just a tiny little dab. Take another. These are bulk eyes that I picked up off of, I don't know, I think it was AliExpress or something. And I just want to make sure they're pretty well straight with each other. Again, they don't have to be perfect, but pretty close. Just keeping it turning so it doesn't fall. There we go. Hit it with the UV light. And if they're not perfect, you can always adjust them a little bit. They're not fully cured. There we go. And then it's fill that gap and cover that body. And you want to make this into a taper. So sorry that I have to make it turn like this, but otherwise it just globs up and it doesn't look right. So I've got it started curing. Turn it over. Same thing. Fill that up in between. That soak right in there. Get that body covered. And then the really nice thing about this fly, super simple, and absolutely indestructible. This because it's pure, fully coated. This is basically just an updated version of the epoxy minnow, right? But I call it the UV minnow or the UV resin minnow. It could be called the big eye minnow. Set that a little bit more because I want to get this nice big head up here. Tiny bit more down on the bottom. Tiny bit more. So I want this to have a bit of a taper, right? So I want this to kind of taper off the head. There we go. It's setting in nicely. And then last step, I just take, after I'm happy with how it's cured, I always fully coat it with a coating of Sally Hansen's. This makes it rock hard and absolutely indestructible. Now you can make these nice and small like this. You can make them double that length, use a 2x long or 3x long shanked hook. And that's it. It's super, super, super simple.
Looks like it would really do the job, though. My goodness.
They're, like I said, this for me, this is, let's see if I think I've got a couple here that are, here, a little longer ones. These are easily my first one on. So there, right? Slightly longer, slightly more taper, right?
Yep.
But and like I said, I tie them in with gold, I tie them with silver. But anytime I go cutthroat trout fishing in estuaries or even in brackish backwaters, like the Fraser River out here, we've got a lot of little backwater eddies and backwater brackish areas where other creeks are coming in and stuff. And this is like I said, always my first one on, always. And if I want it a little heavier, I can add a little thin layer of lead. I really like sticky back flat lead. So it's a flat lead sheet that's got glue on the bottom of it. You can cut it to whatever width and then wrap it. That's the one I really like doing. So, okay, that one's done. What's left? Do we got time to do one more?
We'll take the time for another one because I've been wanting to see this pink gurgler really, really bad.
Okay. So I tie this one for pinks and for cohos and for cohos. You guys call coho silvers? Yeah, right. Yeah. And then I'll also for spring salmon for the big one, right? But I'll just tie them way bigger. But and I tie these in the two primary colors are pink and chartreuse. So and oh man, there's nothing like they're just seas. There we go. There's nothing like getting that top water explosion, right? It's like because it's a popper, right? Popper gurgler. Nothing like getting that top water explosion. Yeah, I mean, pink salmon are not that big, but I mean, you're out in the estuaries and you're casting a 6-weight fly rod for these things. I tell you, yeah. And then just hold on if you accidentally get a coho on a 6-weight. Or I think, like I said, I think you guys call them silvers, coho. So 9mm booby tubes. Okay. And what I do with these is I'll take my long scissors and I'm going to cut this from corner to corner on an angle. Okay, like that. So I'm going to end up with a half a cylinder. Okay, so that's what I'm ending up. Slipped out of my hand. That's what I end up with. right? A taper down to the corner. And then I'll take and just create a bit of a, just a bit of a tape angle here, just for a tie-in point more than anything. Oh, I'm using a, this is a UTC thread, pink. This is probably my favorite for these types of flies. Super strong, bright colors. So now I'm going to tie this in upside down. Okay. Now I'm going to put my tail in first, but this one is going to end up being tied in upside down. So my tail is going to be baitfish white from Semperflash, and a little bit of, yeah, I know, buddy. I'm almost done. A little bit of pink deer hair. Now, you don't have to put in the flash if you don't want to. It's just another one of those get their attention type of things. Yeah, you want to eat the deer hair, don't you? No, you can't. So I'm just going to take a little tuft of deer hair here, of bucktail, sorry, and I'm going to put it into my stacker quickly after I just cut off my butts so they go in nicely. And then I want this to be about the length of the body past. So about like that. Just going to about there. Gives me my tie-in length. Counterclockwise spin, flatten that thread. Wax, because I'm putting in a slippery material on a slippery thread. Just going to go right up to the eye. Obviously, don't crowd your eye. And then just open wraps to the back and under and over and under and over. There we go. Now, don't have to go crazy. Few strands of the white or pink flash. Hey, dude, I know. Just get that in, get that on top, lay it right on top. Get that up to your tie-in point. Cut. And that's just a little bit of, hey, what's that? Right? Pretty easy. Now, I'm going to tie in my booby tube. And this is a part you got to be careful with, because these GSPs, nano silks, nano threads, any of them are sharp. They will cut this foam like nothing.
And what size is that GSP that you're tying with, or the nano
This
silk?
one is a 140. This is a UTC 140. This one here. So, yeah. If I was doing this with nano silk, I'd probably be using a 3/0. It's a big fly, and that 3/0 I can flatten, or I would use. They've got one called a hair stacker. It flattens out really nice. This body is, and again, just for coho, make this all chartreuse. Same stuff, exactly the same. Just banged your head on the table, dude. Make this all chartreuse. For coho. So this is Palmer chenille in fluorescent pink in small. If I'm going up, like in this size, I'm going to go small. If I'm going to go up a size or two, like if I would go up to like a 4 or something, I'd probably go with the medium. The problem with the medium is it's exponentially bigger than the small, right? So I'm just going to expose a little bit of that center core. Catch that in right at the back there. Now, I'm just going to make sure that I am completely coating this body with pink. Okay, well, put in just a quick little whip finish. and I twisted it. There we go. Do that again. Just a half hitch. Just hold it there, out of the way. Now with this stuff, I want it facing backwards every wrap. So I'm going to do 1 and 2, maybe even 3 in this case, touching wraps, right touching each other. And then I am going to open it up and palmer it so I can see that pink underbody. And then I'll give it another touching wrap right at the front, tie that off. Make sure it's slicked back. And this I am floating line, and I am absolutely smashing aggressive. I'm wham, wham, wham. You want to hear that, and you want it to spray water everywhere, right? So taking my brush, just tweaking those fibers so they're laying to either side. Gonna bring this forward, counterclockwise spin, flattening my thread again, 2 to 3 kind of more ginger wraps. So now what I want to do is I want to lift this up, and I want to create a bit of a thread dam in the front here. So I'm going to lift this up and go right tight up against it and create a bit of a thread dam. And that helps that pop up. Then oh, that's why I'm twisted. Keep wanting to break my thread. It's twisted. Give that a quick whip finish. Second set. Nip that off. And then I want to take this and I want to create a bit of a angle on here. I'll use a different scissor because that's a curved scissor. So what I'm doing is I'm going from this point here where the tube stops to this point and cutting it on an angle, like below it down here, and cutting it on a bit of an angle. So, and then I'm just going to cut off these corners, because if you don't, when you're casting, these will spin. And can give that just a bit more of a taper there. There. So that's what that's the finished fly. So when this is popping through the water, this here is hitting that water and just spraying it everywhere, just spraying it every time, right?
The way it's shaped, it ought to be kind of jumping up above the water and dropping back in a little bit too.
It does if you're really aggressive with it. Like I said, what I like doing is I like doing the pop, 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 pop. Leave it alone for 5-6 seconds. Let the fish, let that sensory organ, that lateral line, let them, oh, what the hell's that? Let them find it, and then give it a big pop, and then leave it for another 10 seconds. And if nothing, pop, 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 pop. Leave it for a few, nothing, big pop. That's how I like fishing this one. But
Rick, we thank you for an absolutely great presentation. I can't thank you enough for the time you've taken to share your patterns with us. And,
no problem. Can I just show you 2 more really quickly? Not tied, just show you, and then I'll be done.
Yep.
So this is the other one I was gonna do. It's the California Neal. Super, super popular pattern on the West Coast. It's just got a flashy underbody. We use the hackle as the tail as well, or you can put some flash with or without a bead, up to you. And then this is another one of my favorites. It's I just call it my big eye minnow. And it's another one of those excellent, deadly cutthroat trout patterns. So, okay, that's it.
Appreciate it. Thank you again, and we'll pop into the weekly tip right now. And I see that in my haste of preparing tonight, I left last week's in place, the parachute, because this is not what we're talking about tonight, folks. Last week or 2 weeks ago, when Barry Webster made a presentation, he shared with us some CDC clips. And well, I kind of fell in love with the darn things. And Barry, I ended up spending money. And as you can see here, I went and bought some of the stuff that Barry had. And what I wanted to share with you is first off, let me get over here into this area. Okay. I bought these all off of Amazon. I put the links if you're interested. I think you'll find right here, this guy is a $20 ripoff of this more expensive one up here. This one is on the package, all it says is Clamp made in China. And well, you can see it looks very similar to this Kuchclmeister or whatever the heck it's called, multi-clamp. But anyway, it's from, I think it's Germany or Switzerland. I'm not sure which, but
Austria, but he makes them in Germany.
Austria. Okay, great. Anyway, they look very similar. And then this right here, we can talk about it at another time. But what I wanted to share with you all is $50, $20. You'll have to decide which you want to spend on, but I want to share one thing with you. And let me get my let's get this up here. Turn this on. This is my shipping weight. And what I wanted to share with you is how much pressure it takes to make these work, make these function. And then you can decide whether it will hold the materials the way you like it or not. But here's the one from China, and I'll just push down on it until it's open. And if you can't read that, that's fine. But anyway, it's 3 pounds, 8 ounces, give or take. 3 pounds, 8 ounces to operate this. And if you think that's enough to hold your materials, great. If the materials that you're doing will work with that, great. $20 will do you. If you think, let's just slip this guy into place here. This is the one from Austria. And it is 6 pounds, 9 ounces, plus or minus a little bit. And it's shaped a little bit better. Most of what I'm going to do, this one would work better. However, for, I think, CDC, this one will work just fine too. So it's kind of up to you what you do. As I said, the links are over in the chat. I just put them up there. And this is the device that Barry used for putting his feathers in there so we can mount them in the clip. We're not here to do that and do a repeat of what Barry did. But there's the tip for tonight.
Hey,
And
Al.
yes,
So I just mentioned that the amount of pressure that you showed to open it goes without saying. It's also proportionally that much stronger holding the material, like when you pull it out of the feather prepper and everything.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to tell you which one to go with, but I'm very, very pleased with the one from Austria. And not that I just like the other one, but the one from Austria seems to fit my tying style fairly well.
And I apologize for making you spend money.
I'll just share something really quick with the same topic. So
Just
I've
a
got
minute, let me bring you up on add a spotlight. There we are. Go ahead.
so I've got those the Kuchclmeisters and I love them. They're phenomenal, but they're for the average tire they're quite expensive. And I know that people are going to laugh. Magnetic bag clips at the dollar store, and they are absolutely excellent. I bet you this is better than the Chinese knockoff that you got. And it's just a Chinese, I get 6 of these for $2. And they bet you they got about the same pressure to open them. And they're nice and tight.
Interesting.
Bag clips, magnetic bag clips. I got 6 for $2. And then I've got the 2 Stoneful ones as well, the plastic. They're pretty limp in my opinion, opening and closing. And the thing I really don't like with these ones, just so you guys can tell, and is you see right here, that line, that's actually a step. And when you're trying to put your thread on, like over it, it always wants to pop off, and then it knocks your material there to your clip. I'm not a fan of these at all. But for $2 for 6 of them, I tell you, I reach for this more than I do for my professional one.
That's an excellent one, and I have to agree. I also have the Stoneful ones myself, and you notice I didn't show them tonight.
Yeah,
So
they're in my opinion below average.
yeah,
So,
at least.
yeah.
Rick,
Hey,
thank you
Al.
so much. That was a great piece of information. And yes, let's see, remove the spotlight. And somebody was asking a question.
Yeah, Al, this is Barry again. The other thing that I didn't mention when I did my thing, Chris Johnson is the originator of one of the flies that I tied, and Chris is a real fan of the petagene tools. And there is a petagene tool that allows you to pull the CDC down into the clip. It's got a matching piece, and it's excellent as well. It's a little pricey. I use the hairline just because it's the one I've got, but if you haven't seen them yet, the petagene tools are worth a look.
They're great.
And I have the
All of this
petagene
stuff is
tools
great.
as well, and they're great tools. If nothing else, though, we're going to move on into the sharing section. And what is the sharing section? Sharing is when those of you in the audience share with us. And we always start out with our good friend, Evelyn. Do you have something for us tonight, Evelyn? Add you right there, and you can go ahead and show us the pictures that you did of Rick's flies. Oh my God, you did it.
Oh, woohoo!
If you ever do a book, Rick, and you need an illustrator, you're looking at her.
Actually, I'm writing. We'll talk because I'm actually writing a follow-up to my insect guide, and I need an illustrator.
There, Evelyn, you just made me in business. Those look excellent.
Thank you.
And before we move into anyone else's sharing, I've got one I want to share. And I started out earlier tonight showing you an envelope that I received in the mail. And that, if you look real careful, down you see a green line that goes across there, and then handwritten below that is processed sheep wool. Okay. Just so you know, well, this is from my good buddy Dave Wilson in Australia, and he sent me some Tukidale sheep hair. Now, I want you to understand that this Tukidale sheep hair is hair. It's not wool. And I'm just going to pull this one piece out that I've had. And I want you to see that it looks like hair, and they use it as elk hair in place of elk hair down in their country. And let's slip over here to the fly tying vise. And let me get this focus fly out of here so you can see this Tukidale sheep hair.
Oh, look at the movement in that.
This is, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be doing some playing with this stuff. I think there's some real possibility. The only thing is sending stuff from Australia to Idaho is kind of spendy. It's kind of spendy going the other way too. I sent him some elk, and I sure hope it gets there. But anyway, I just wanted you all to see that. The funny things that end up in the mail here at BT's Fly Tying Fridays is pretty phenomenal. Now, in the interest of sharing some more things, I also get a lot of emails. And, well, David Buckner's at it again, and all I can tell you is Buckner sent this to me. He called it the Buckner Art Fly. I got to tell you, I called it Buckner's Nightmare. But I'm going to bring David up on a.
Hey, Evelyn, don't try to draw this one.
I think that's pretty.
But Val Kropnicki, he sends me hooks every now and then and challenges me to tie something different. You probably remember looking at his work before on the calls. If you haven't seen his work, go to vksteelworks.com. You'll be amazed. He makes some incredible flies. But he sent me this hook, and this one came to me about 4 a.m. It's a I call it an aquarium fly, but there's a branch of coral that's attached as a wing with I've got 4 EP bait fish and a tiny 1/4 inch EP bait fish on 30-pound mason is fun too. One of the unique things, you see the spiral, the spiral hackle. If you strip one side of that's midge, whiting midge, white rooster saddle, but if you run or wrap the hackle around some stainless steel leader wire, I think I use 44 pound, and leave it for a few days. You could even steam it, but it holds its shape in that spiral. And then I actually threaded an ostrich hurl through the spiraled hackle. But that's my aquarium fly.
And I called it his nightmare, and I think I'm going to stay with that. And I'll let you take another close, tight shot of that before we bounce in and have all of you share with us. But you can see that hook is shaped different than, I think you would call that a release hook. There's no catch involved in it. It's just a release hook. But that is David, that is absolutely gorgeous.
I don't know if you could all see that, but this was tied by Walt Swanson, who just recently passed away. But do you see the legs on this hopper pattern?
Yeah.
He actually pulled goose biots or turkey biots down through the foam, poked a little hole in the foam. I don't know if you can tell what I'm showing you here, but and he pulled them down to form the hopper legs.
That's amazing.
Wow. That's just a very unique way of making hopper legs. So
it surely is. It surely is. Chuck, anything else to share with us?
Well, I was going to quickly. There's one other quick one.
Okay.
I don't have it on the background, but
Oh, wow. Nice.
That's beautiful.
Sea hawk.
It's just two things. One, that wire stuff that I was talking about at the beginning, it's real wire flex, it's called. So it's in a tippet roll for the trailing hooks.
Okay.
Okay, so I just thought I'd share that. And then I thought I'd share this with you. You guys know I'm a bit of an Amazon freak, and I think I showed you guys all these, this light last time, which it has the arms that flip and can come down and extend and all that stuff, right? So that's an Amazon find. But what I wanted to show you this time is this. These are all, oh wait. I picked all these up at Amazon. I got 4 for $20.
Oh my God. That's just what I need to put my stuff in order. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 for $20. And the big rolls I can get one on, the smaller rolls like this, right? I can get 2 on top of each other. But
all right.
Yeah, so it's another little Amazon find. If you guys want the link, I can find it and send it to Al.
Well, that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for joining it. For now, it's a wrap until next time. Take care.